Jingle Slam
podcast. We're back. Finally,
Finally,
back.
for the final time for the foreseeable future.
Yes, I will say though, I was going to throw this anyway. All these professional, I'm air quoting for the people listening, professional podcasts, they pre-record their jingle. We do it live.
We do it live every single time.
Yeah, so I hope you appreciate it.
I think once we tried to get it recorded, and then it just like, forget
it.
it.
Right.
What's the point?
Right. And we never rehearse.
No, we just go for it.
It just works.
We just go for it.
I think maybe once or twice I've had to go, start again. We've laughed or something. Hello.
Yes, so it has been a while. SummerSlam was the last time we spoke wrestling. And it's not because we've not been enjoying wrestling. Wrestling's getting really good again.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And there's a lot to talk about.
It's weird that we haven't done this since the Triple H takeover.
Yeah.
But SummerSlam was Triple H takeover, but we're just busy.
We're just so busy. And obviously with that, like we said, we're kind of calling it for the moment. Like, we're just like, we don't know whether we'll come back at Mania or something, but like at the moment, it's like, we pay like £10 a month to SoundCloud, which distributes it to all the other things. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, and all that usual shit.
Yeah.
Find us on all the podcast stuff except for Spotify. But it costs £10 a month, and I can't really justify it anymore when we're both so busy and we're not doing it on the regular. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
especially during these times.
There might be a 10%. Oh, we can't be asked, kind of thing.
Yeah, every now and then.
Yeah, but also...
we flat out forgot.
Yeah,
like, if one time was like, fuck me, it's Wednesday,
but
do
when
it.
we do remember and try, it's like, well, I'm not going to be available till 2 or 3 days after.
And it's
so it's like pissing in the wind at that
it's pointless. By that point, it's like, well, who's checking out the podcast then?
If we do have our listeners out there that want us to continue because they like our shtick, then please reach out to us and we'll talk about continuing. But... if we hear nothing from you, we'll get the picture. Right?
Yeah, you shit, go away.
Yes, Survivor Series 2022.
2022.
War Games,
which is, in my opinion, it's a nice way to end things for us. I think. Yeah, pay-per-view wise, it's.
But as far as this being, obviously, War Games has been around for a couple of years in NXT. Bringing it up to the main roster for Survivor Series, I think, is the right call.
Yes,
definitely.
The Survivor Series out of the Big Four was the most boring out of the lot.
They've made it,
and they just made it interesting.
Yeah,
still do a 5-on-5. It's just not elimination. It's just to do with War Games. And
I did think, like either after or during, like, should this still be elimination? But I thought, no, let's just stick to how the War Games rules go.
Yeah,
it's
confusing enough as it is.
Yeah, let's not go. And if it became elimination, I mean, the matches go on for 45 minutes a piece, something like that. If you do elimination, you're going to be there for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I like the concept, but so yeah, we've done the like, subscribe and all that stuff. I don't think there was anything in the pre-show.
No.
This is where I'm going to need help because I have a small story for you listeners and Mr. Mason.
Story time.
Me and a couple of mates and my brother, the Goffies were meant to come, but they were ill. We went to Birmingham to watch Survivor Series at the Gloucester Green.
Oh, yes, you went and saw it?
Yeah, we went.
Oh, I didn't know you went.
Because they usually don't do Survivor Series, but they were like, it's War Games. Let's give it a shot. They reached out to people and said, look, if enough of you do want to do this and buy the tickets, we'll do it. And enough did come, but I spoke to them and he goes, it's by all means not going to be a Royal Rumble, SummerSlam main turnout. It's going to be good enough. So we went, and everything was cushy, and we were sitting there waiting for the Sky box office to kick in. It began to kick in with the WWE logo. Screen went blue. And everyone's sitting there like, what the fuck? And we're looking at the two guys who organised it, who's still just sitting there in their burger like, hello? It's not working. So it quickly became apparent there was a connection error or someone hadn't bought the fucking pay-per-view. So everyone's like, they're not kicking off, but everyone's giving that whole, come on, like disdain and lack of patience.
Yeah.
So they get up and we're trying to figure out, is it because they kept saying no satellite and all that, they're fucking around the skybox, nothing. Eventually the guy does get up and says something and goes, look, okay, obviously technical difficulties. The chain of pubs is apparently it's all the same chain that do these viewings. They're the ones responsible for buying the pay-per-view. For some reason they haven't. Apparently Manchester's got the same problem. So I'm like, for fuck's sake. He goes, but we have got a couple of other options. You just have to bear with us a few minutes. We'll get it up and running. It took them just over half an hour. So we missed most of the first match. Luckily for me and Mark and everyone at our table, Mark got up on his phone.
Oh, thank God.
But it wasn't the same.
I mean, it's not the same, no.
But at least we knew what the fuck was going on.
Yeah,
but we were like,
Jesus.
come on. At one point, near the start of this whole thing, someone runs out with a PS4. I'm like, okay, just get the network up and whatnot.
Yeah, let's get it done.
For some reason, that just disappeared for like half hour while they're fucking around with Sky cards and trying to connect. And then eventually they come out with the PS4 again, get it up and running, get it through the network. I understand why they're trying to not use the network because of licensing stuff. But everyone was just happy that it was up and it was fine for the rest of the night. But I was like, surely you should A, check this shit beforehand.
Yeah.
First thing on the top of the list. Or B,
have you bought the paper?
Have the PS4 there on standby, ready, in case
have
this happens. Yeah. But I didn't get why they didn't just plug in the PS4 straight away, throw the network on and go, we'll let them watch the network while we figure out this Sky business. If we can get Sky up and running, we'll switch back.
Yeah.
If not, we'll just have to hope the network doesn't buffer out. So, and we watched it with the network, but they had to also sort out the audio because that was all out of sync and all that shit. But yeah, it took 30, 35
I'm glad I didn't go because me and Sarah have been up there forgetting about it.
We were like ready to like just tell us if this isn't going to happen, and I'll go back to my hotel and throw my Fire Stick in the team.
Yeah.
But so luckily the Goffeys didn't come because Matt would have been throwing.
Oh,
chairs.
he did got me. Starting fights.
Oh my god. But there was an end to the story, which will make sense at the end of this podcast. But yeah, so anyway, the first match, you may have to hold my hand through a few bits because I watched it through a fucking mobile phone.
So yeah, the first match was the women's 5-on-5 War Games match.
Yep.
I had a feeling that it would open and close with War Games.
Yes,
kind of made sense. I would have given the US triple threat as an opener as well. That would have been a good opener. But in all honesty, in hindsight, I think the positions for everything was good.
You need a strong opener and a strong closer, so it made sense to do that. For what I saw and what I was able to see, I thought it was very good. Yeah,
it was good. It was a really good opener. It was very strong. Everybody did their bits that they needed to do. The stories that were being... Because there's not as much story going into this War Games as there was with the men's one.
Oh, the men's story was incredible.
But the men's story is incredible. But, I mean, obviously, it's Bloodline. The Bloodline is the best story in wrestling right now, as far as I'm concerned. But the women's one's not as much story. It's like, here's my friends, let's fight.
Yeah.
Which is, fine. But the thing that kind of pushed it over the edge to make it a really good show was that they got Becky in for the last one.
Yes.
So that pushed it in as like, everybody was happy to see Becky back. We want to see what she does. Will she stay face? Will she turn heel? We don't know what she's going on. So all that kind of stuff going on. She got beef with the Down Control. Obviously, the last person she fought before she was injured was Belair. So there's all that kind of stuff going on, but you got that hype of Becky. So that added much more flavour to the match itself.
Yeah, I mean, we're not jumping forward, but with the men's, and I don't mean this with all due respect to him, but I just thought the one character that stands out here as just like he's just there was Ridge for me.
Maybe, yeah.
But he is part of the Bloodline group, so I understood why he was there.
Yeah.
With the women's, they all had like their own. Individual character,
mini stories and everything. Even at points like Cross and Bliss, when they they were tag champs and shit.
This is why a few bits I just thought they might have missed a part there because I did the Hooked on Wrestling predictions contest, and it isn't just a clear cut who's going to win this. It's like how long. I think one of the questions was how long's the pay per view going to go for in seconds. Like, good luck, but. One of them was who will start each War Games on each team.
Yeah.
And I thought if it's not Io and Asuka, Alexa and Nikki would make sense to me because of that whole thing. Didn't come to pass.
No, it was Dakota and...
Belair started, which surprised me. That was... Started.
I mean...
But it makes sense for a character.
Yeah, it makes sense for a character because, like, I'm the leader, lead by example. I'm the champion. I will start.
I'm a fighting champion.
I will lead my people through fire.
Yeah. So I did. No offense to Alexa, I just thought she did nothing wrong. But the only thing I remember of note is when she tripped up the cable on the way to the ring. I couldn't see. She was
like I said, they had that moment with her and Cross, which I liked.
Yeah. And she didn't do anything wrong. It was just kind of like. Yeah, she kind of filled up the numbers. Nikki's back to her form.
Nikki was insane. Like with all the trash cans and all this kind of shit.
Crossbody of the cage.
Crossbody of the cage, that whole stuff. That was all brilliant. Loved it. Becky taking on... Well, she was taking on Bayley and then she squared off with Rhea.
Yes.
Which I really liked as well. I think that's nice. I think that's a nice place for Becky to have a feud with outside of the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I know they teased the Rhea Ripley her stare down on SmackDown before, so
Yeah,
it's probably
and that's the thing,
building up.
because they teased that, I was like, right, well, there's got to be a payoff in this match, and they did pay it off, which is good.
Yeah, and the Bayley thing, I mean, it was one of those like, actually, yeah, these are only 2 of the 4 horsewomen that are there right now, so of course they'd do that. I saw obviously Io's moonsault off the cage.
Yeah.
Apparently, everyone was talking about this botch. I didn't see it.
She botched.
She got caught between the cage and the ring, or something like that.
The botch that she botched a couple. To be honest, Io botched a couple of times in this match.
Oh,
she got caught between the cage and the ring, is from what I remember. But the one I really remember is early on when it was her and Dakota versus Belair. They pinned her in the corner, and she did the thing where she top rope. She put her legs up in the air and she meant to swing them down. She fucked it twice.
No,
twice she fucked it, and then you could just see it in her arms. Like, forget it, let's just move on.
See, again,
she just lost her balance. She put her legs up in the air like she usually does, and she just completely lost her balance twice in a row.
See, I didn't really see that properly because I'm watching through a fucking phone. I didn't actually catch Asuka's mist. It wasn't until I saw Rhea just covered in green. I was like, oh,
to be honest, though, that
okay.
was a shock based on the fact that, like, you know what, she hasn't done it in a while. I haven't seen it in a while.
No, but
because it's normally quite a heel type thing. But when it happened, I was like, oh!
But it's definitely a War Games move.
Yeah,
when
I like
all bets are off.
Yeah, it was cool. I liked it.
So yeah, Nikki's the crossover. Just Nikki knows that version of the character so well. Like, she obviously climbed the pod right at the start.
I also noticed that her new music is like Sanity.
It's a remix.
It's a remix of Sanity, isn't it?
And just before she did the crossbody, just sitting there laughing, like watching the chaos down below, is just like, yep, okay, this is cool. I'm trying to remember who else was in the bloody match now. So you had Dakota, you had Nikki, Io, Bayley, Rhea. See, that was another thing. When Becky returned to SmackDown before, so she hasn't had the chance to pick up the stick yet, which is like, okay, I can see them waiting.
And she's never done a War Games match either, which is interesting.
So it was really, in a weird way, seeing her come back to compete, and we haven't heard a word out of her yet, not officially. So there was one point, I think her and, I think it was Bianca, standing side by side and they were squaring up to another 2, and just that thought of like, what if Becky just swung the elbow at Bianca now and just
I'll be honest,
left the cage?
There was a couple of times I thought to myself, well, she could, because she was technically a heel when she left. She just had that square off with damage control with Belair.
Yeah.
But that didn't confirm to me that she was turning face. It was just like, don't be a bitch. We've just been through a match. I'm not having this crap. That stuff. That didn't confirm she turned face there.
Yeah.
But obviously this match here is like, okay, she's face. Okay, that's cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, at that point, it was like, well, at any point she could just turn on him and fucking bail.
Yeah, yeah. I did think like they kind of they put the rule in place because they have to, but it's like at one point someone's got to take note and advantage of this. Of like, when obviously the bell doesn't ring until all 10 competitors are in the rings.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, and I think at that point the match had begun. I think was Becky last. I think she was.
Yeah, Becky was last. Yeah.
So I thought if she just threw the elbow into Belair, whoever, damage control and all that, something like what? And Becky just left the cage, which gives Team Bayley the win because any member who leaves the cage, they lose it for their team. The heel move from Becky and how smug Bayley knew that would still be, even though technically Becky won the match for them.
But then you feel cheated of a War Games match.
but you do and you don't because you got the chaos.
Yeah.
And you got the match. It's just, what a cheap way to win.
I think if you do that right at the end, where we have an absolute
have the
barnstorm of a match, and then she does it.
Yeah.
Cool, that's fine.
So I think that literally, I think as Becky got in and the ring, the screen at our place was set up. So we saw the start of the match.
Yeah,
we just
technically.
Yeah, we didn't see
the
chaos
before
ensue.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember how the match finished.
I'll be honest, I'm struggling myself.
Yeah, I think that the pin was done to Dakota.
Yes.
I think, wasn't it like a load of finishes? Oh, Becky jumped off the cage through the table.
Yeah, she went through the table. That was it, yeah.
And then I think there was a couple of finishes. Wasn't it the TKO maybe that finished it off?
Marvin.
And yeah, so Team Belair wins.
Yes. Which is the right call.
Especially for Becky's return.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to.
And obviously, most 9 times out of 10, whenever the opener happens, it's like, right, well, the faces are probably going to win it because, you know, it's a nice bit of energy and like good feel good pop, and you get that energy going into the rest of the pay-per-view.
As far as what I was predicting, I was so sure the Bloodline, the heels, were going to win their War Games match. I was like, if the heels are winning that match, the face has to win the alternate.
I say the main event was really hard to call.
Yeah,
the right call in the end.
It was the right call,
but it was hard.
And
to
I'm
call,
not saying it should be.
Prediction-wise, it was hard because this could be a bit, depending on where the story was going. Like this could have been easily the moment where they made a misstep.
Yeah,
Bloodline-wise, like whether it be Sammy or Jay, and that costs them the L, and that furthers the story. But then you can do exactly what they did, and still furthers the story.
And I'm not saying that every War Games has to be the 50-50 booking of a heel wins this one, which means the good guys win that. But if Team Damage Control or Bailey, whatever you want to call it, had won, I know Damage Control are quite new, so there is a way that you should be pushing them.
They do need some wins, though.
I do, but I just think if we were sitting here now, and it doesn't matter who got the victory, whether it was Rhea, Bailey, Io, whoever, I just think in the long run, what would be the benefit for any of those characters? Right now, this was the Team Belair one was more, like I say, the return of Becky. She was the missing link. Let's get the champion more over, because I'll admit, in the last couple of months, the women's champions begin to look like an afterthought.
Especially Ronda.
Oh God, yeah.
Ronda's just like
you forget she's there.
I forget she's there. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like let's begin to put the women's champions not only back on the map, but give them some momentum. So Team Belair.
See, I feel like the tag champs should be bailing on Bailey soon.
Should be what? Bailey, the damage. No.
The two tag champs, they should be leaving Bailey soon. They should betray her because
it's a bit soon, isn't it?
I don't know, because they keep winning the tag titles back and she keeps losing her fucking matches for a title. So they should be going, well, why do we need you? You keep losing, you don't get your fucking title. We're sitting here with a title. Twice we've won this fucking belts now. Why do we need you?
No, that's true, but in the same note, you could also say with the Bloodline, like, Roman can't win without our help here.
True, but he's so terrifying, isn't he? Like, Bailey's not terrifying. Roman's terrifying. Especially like that line a couple of weeks ago, like when he said, I don't give a damn what the tribal chief did, and his head just whipped up. I was like, oh,
the fact that
you fucked up.
Can react to that because everyone is now bought into the Roman character.
Oh, he's doing some of his best work.
One of the bits that we'll touch on later on is when I love the fact that he demanded a chair in his pod. It's like,
he's just sitting there the whole time. Like, perfect.
But when it kept panning to him, I was like, this is like Zeus watching over these gods of Olympus.
Yeah, he's just waiting to land those lightning bolts.
Yeah, and I'll be like, I'll come down when I'm ready from my mount, and then I'll show you God mode.
Yeah.
But,
the first match, good.
It was
solid opener, really enjoyed it. But yeah, it did exactly
I think the main seed of the whole thing was Rhea and Becky will probably have a rivalry going on to this. So then the next match, I believe, was AJ Finn. Is that correct?
Yeah, AJ Finn was next.
Right,
they've only had to go at each other one at a time, which was a really, really good match.
Yeah, and I just remembered the one bit I was annoyed that I missed at the start of the show was that Ozzy opened it.
Yeah.
I had to go back and watch the clip.
You know what? I forgot that he had a new album out.
Well, I was like, I knew War Pigs was the thing, but I was like, okay, so you got Sabbath and his new one. Cool. Yeah. Like, okay. And you've got him to do... Apparently, they did want Ozzy to perform live, but due to schedules and probably Ozzy's health, I mean...
he's moved back to England.
And he's going to do a tour. It's confusing, but the fact that they had Ozzy...
Yeah, it's cool.
It's cool. So, yeah, AJ Finn, I was going in thinking, this could be the show stealer here.
Yeah.
And by... no means was it at all bad. I thought it was a very, very
good match. It was a really good match, but it wasn't that match of the night.
No, later on came the match of the night for me. But yeah, so I knew Rhea and Mia Yim, that was the other one. We're probably not going to appear because they're licking their wounds from War Games.
Yeah.
So we've got the OC with AJ with his New Japan mask, and you had Dominic and Damien. I take you saw what Dominic did on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
brilliant. I loved it.
He's leaning into the heel so well.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Like, if this doesn't culminate with him versus his dad at Mania, where he retires his dad, I don't know what you're doing.
The seeds are being planted too much to not happen. So yeah, and then I don't think it was that long into the match that I think Dominic got involved, so AOC attacked, and they fought to the back. And I thought I never saw this as another member's going to suddenly appear and join Judgment Day or anything like that. I did partially think, what if now Rhea limps out and that's when Beth appears? But I just thought, not yet. maybe save it for like the first Raw.
Yeah, because it's like
that.
Edge isn't involved there, so that doesn't make sense. So it's kind of like, let's just let these guys have a wrestle.
No, but I would have been fine letting Beth do her own thing because she's her own character as well.
Yeah.
But I saw it as what it was. Like, they're going to make this one-on-one, and I think that's what the fans want. Like, the no bullshit, just Finn versus AJ. And there was nothing too much of note apart from just solid wrestling.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it wasn't like, holy shit. But it was like, this is just a good, solid wrestling match.
Yeah.
Like, and they just did exactly what it said on the tin. And
there's no complaints.
There isn't no complaints. I mean, I would have liked a Styles Clash to finish it rather than a forearm.
I agree. I thought the forearm finish was a tad flat.
Yeah, things I like the forearm. I think it's a great move.
It's a signature, not a
finisher.
But
it's a signature, not a finisher. Yeah. The finisher is Styles Clash. I mean, because it looks awesome.
I did say to my brother and all that around the table, like, I see this match at one point, Finn hitting a Styles Clash and AJ hitting a coup de grace. And he teased it. Finn teased it at one point, but it never took place. He turned it into a calf crusher.
I'm kind of glad that Finn got rid of the 1940 DDT or whatever it was. That was
he stopped it now.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time he did it. I prefer it because, again, I feel like that's more of a signature, not a finisher. His finisher is the coup de grace.
I mean, I'm beginning to think, is AJ trying to not do the Styles Clash as much? Because maybe it's an age thing. Maybe he thinks it's too dangerous now. I don't know. It is a
maybe it's a comfortability thing. Maybe it's like the people that said, "Do you want to do it?" No, I'd rather not.
Well, I think Finn would have said, "Yeah, let's do it." I think this is why the match was so good. The chemistry between the two. I think they were very comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
I did like near the start that it was very apparent AJ's working the leg, which is like, okay, he might be looking at calf crusher here to finish the match.
Yeah.
But yeah, the match ended with the flying forearm, clean victory. AJ definitely needed it.
Oh yeah,
3 years since.
That's the thing. It's like, I am enjoying Judgment Day now that Triple H is in charge.
Yeah.
But they do need to get some wins.
I agree.
Somewhere they need to get some wins. I don't think it damages Finn too much, really, because, like I say, AJ really needed the win because he hadn't had one in a while.
I mean, they got the win at the Crown Jewel, which surprised me.
Yeah, that's true.
A win nonetheless. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, they need a win of note. Yeah,
a real win of note. So it's like they're a bit more imposing as a group. I am enjoying their characterization. I am enjoying what they're doing and everything. And they fit better than they did when Vince was in charge. But I just feel like, right, we need to start backing this up with a couple of wins here. A couple of, like I say, notable wins.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope this is just rumour. And even if it isn't, I'm hoping it's just for what I think it is. I saw a thing today on Facebook of returning on Raw tonight to shake things up again is Vince McMahon.
Oh, fuck off.
Now, if I'm pretty sure it's fake. But if it isn't, I think he's just going to be there to, I'm Vince and McMahon and the draft. Because I know they're on about a draft. And I know in the Triple H's thing, he'd stick to that draft. I know this wild card bullshit.
Yeah, but if you're sticking to the draft, you've got to stick to the draft for a few years, not switch it every year, because then it just becomes pointless.
Yeah, I agree. So, so to the point that next Survivor Series, don't bring back Raw and SmackDown, keep it the way it is now.
Yeah, because I don't care about the brand supremacy. I really don't care about it.
But after 2 or 3 years of no shuffles,
then you
maybe
you can
do Raw versus SmackDown.
Because you feel like the people that are on that brand are more loyal to it.
Yes.
Because there's been times before they've done the fucking draft. Then had Survivor Series as the next pay-per-view. It's just he literally just moved to Raw. Why does he give a shit?
There's no feud there. There's nothing.
I've got to do it because I'm on Raw. That's it.
Yeah, that's
the whole story.
But if that was going to happen, I'll explain more why I'm not thinking the United States title here. Because of what happened late in the match. But if Judgment Day was moved to SmackDown, maybe give one of them, probably Finn, the Intercontinental Championship.
Yep.
Putting gold in.
Yeah, that would have been more. That's the thing. It's like Rhea. She could take a title.
I mean, if she took the Women's Championship, fine. I would have said the tag titles, but the fact that it's part of the Bloodline right now, is like, I think the Usos need to hold on to it a little bit more and not go down to Judgment Day.
I think, in my opinion, if they're not going to pull the trigger on Sammy being the one to take the title from Reigns, which I don't think they are, I think they're going to go with Cody or something like that. The only other option here is KO and Sammy taking the titles from the Usos at WrestleMania. That just makes so much sense because they play plenty of that storyline through this pay-per-view, and I think they're going to continue to play that kind of stuff because if you look at that match, KO and Sami didn't touch each other right till the very end.
No.
And that is an important point.
Yeah,
I think the whole storyline going forward, eventually Sami's going to be turned around by KO. He's going to make him see sense, or they're going to betray Sami, and that's going to have him limp back to KO and apologise, and then they go, right, well, let's take it to him where it hurts. Let's take those titles.
Again, we'll probably talk more when we get to the main event, but they've put so many like tangents and branches of where this story could go that is making the fans go, what the fuck's going to happen? And I want to know.
And it's things that I can't wait to tune into SmackDown. I can't wait
to see what's next.
Yeah.
So I think...
So yeah, the Finn AJ thing was good.
Yeah,
good solid match.
I think before this match, you saw the promo with Jay and Roman, with Jay pretty much grassing him up.
Yeah.
And Roman going, I'll speak to him and I'll see in his eyes if he's telling the truth. And I think it was straight after AJ Finn, we saw the Sami thing.
Yeah. And I liked it because I thought, oh, this is where he's going to lie again, and this is where he
told the truth.
He told the truth. And I was like, okay, cool. He's genuine.
But with the Roman hug, it was his eyes tell a different story.
Yeah. I was like, But I don't know whether it's to do with
great storytelling.
It's great storytelling, but because it leaves it up to your own imagination. And this is why storytelling is so good. If you can make your own assumptions from what people are doing with their mannerisms and their stature and the way that they're coming across, that makes your own story in your head, and that's what you want, because it gives you exactly what you want personally.
This is the difference
because you read into it what you want
between Vince and Triple H. If a turn
Vince has to hold your hand through everything, and that's what annoys me. Triple H doesn't hold your hand. He goes, well, this could mean three things, and I'll let you decide.
If the turn was 100% going to happen, Vince would have gone to Roman like, when you hug him, do the whole "I don't trust you" eyes look kind of thing, and Roman goes, "Oh, because I'm going to turn him later tonight." Yeah. When Triple H said that, Roman might have gone, "So am I going to turn him?" No. But we're going to make the fans think you might. Because that's the genius of it.
That's things like you could read that, like, okay, he might turn, or you could read into it looking, going, I'll see whether he's telling the truth when he gets in the ring.
But the two parts I took from that were genius is, have you heard of a show called Death Note?
Yeah.
Right. Basically, the whole, for those, some of you listeners will know the Death Note thing. Guy finds a book that's owned by a demon, and if you write in the book the name, the time, and the type of death, the death will happen. But the demon, he's the only person who owns the book, so anyone can see the demon, and the demon's usually just sitting in the background there, watching and just observing. Where Paul Heyman was like the devil on Brock Lesnar's shoulder, he's that demon. When I saw him sitting in the back with the belts, just observing the tribal chief.
Yes, things like he's not giving advice. He's not talking for him. He's literally just sitting there, just thinking.
But he's smartly not putting himself as Roman's bitch. He's exactly what they call him, the wise man. He's just almost...
He's there for advice when he's asked of it.
Yeah, he
doesn't come in there telling you advice. He'll wait for Reigns to go, what do you think?
He's Roman's Yoda.
Yeah.
It's pretty just like, other than that, Heyman will wait for his commands or just observe. And if Roman, wants his opinion and wants something done, he'll be like, yes, my tribal chief. Such a cool thing. The other thing was later on where Jay comes back in. And so you spoke to him and all that. He goes, we'll do what's necessary out there. Suddenly the room changed, like, they're going to turn on Jay.
Yeah, again, it teases it.
Which one's going to happen?
This is the great thing. It's like, you go into the match going, I was already hyped for this match anyway, but then you add these little extra tidbits of flavour, and anything could happen.
It makes you like the main event's going to be off the chain.
Yeah, it's going to be mad. So before we get to that, the next one was...
I think it was SmackDown Women's.
Yeah, it was Ronda versus Shotzi. I'm glad
stopped.
Yeah, I'm glad Shotzi got a go at it.
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't really much storyline going in. Again, Ronda, she's just become a boring champion at the moment. I like how she's paired up with Shayna. But in my opinion, what you should do is take the title off Ronda and maybe put those two as a tag team and have her win the tag titles. That'd be cool. The match was just nothing.
No.
It was just boring. Look, the only good thing is that it only lasted 7 minutes, because I was just sitting there going...
Yeah, everyone was there going...
This feels like a Vince match. You know what I mean? Like, he'll think it's a barnstorm, but me, I was like...
I knew it was going to be quick, but I said just before the bell rang, like, this could be a squash here, which I think in the long run, obviously not for Shotzi, but for the Ronda and the SmackDown Women's Championship, it put a little bit more... ammo in her cannon of like, I'm still the bad bitch. I've just took Shotzi out like that. But yeah, I think there was a lot of stuff going on the internet before and after this of like, Not as much as like why Shotzi, but more what's the point of this match right now? I think the point might have been just to put the SmackDown Women's title on the show.
Because it hadn't been on something in a while.
But
so it's just like,
a lot of it was more, I think they were trying to test Shotzi. Like they gave her like, let's see how you do, sink and swim. Some said, look, if that was the case, I think Shotzi might have failed. There's a few botches, but I said, to be fair, some of those were Ronda's fault. She either didn't sell or she missed time.
I think there was just some lack of chemistry here.
There was lack of investment.
There's lack of investment because again, like I said, thrown together.
Yeah.
They tried to make it seem like there was a storyline, but I was like, I'm not invested. I don't care that much. I suppose that's the problem when you've got storylines like the Bloodline where it's so goddamn good that if you're not trying your best to get every other storyline up to that level, it's not going to be good enough.
Well, when Shotzi, I think she won the title shot by winning a fatal 4-way or something like that.
Which is fine, because at least it gives it a reason, rather than just going, I'm next.
Yeah, but within those weeks beforehand, it seemed the only promos they had, if it weren't Ronda and Shayna bullying her, it was just, I'm going to beat you. No, you're not.
Okay.
And just in different versions. It's like, you have a 3-4 week window here to develop a proper story here. Like, even if it's just interviews, the cliche contract signing thing. Have a couple of promos in the ring, a couple of tag teams where Ronda interferes, Shotzi distracts, something like that, instead of just weeks of
I wouldn't
see it Survivor Series.
I wouldn't even mind if they did like a tag match and Shotzi rolled her up, did a quick roll up on her.
Yeah,
just to give her just a shock thing. Yeah, that doubt in Ronda's head, and then you go, ooh,
yeah,
maybe.
It's one of them they need to really knuckle down more on. I think this was the whole point of like, we've got the title match, Shotzi's got a shot, but we're really setting the course here that Ronda and Shayna are a team here. I'm cool with that, but they need to be more vicious. They need to be like,
I want them to be what Shayna and Nia Jax were supposed to be when they were tag champs, which was this unstoppable force, and it never happened.
No.
With Ronda and Shayna, you can do that.
Yeah.
You could have them hold those tag titles for a very long time and build it up to a point like you do with Reigns to go, who's going to take it from them? Because they're just whipping ass.
Yeah.
You could and that makes the titles relevant.
Yes,
because Ronda and Shayna something to do, which means that Ronda doesn't have to be a title holder, a main title holder. I just think it's a no-brainer at this point.
Yeah, there was a few rumours and apparently a chant for Charlotte and Sasha. Now, personally, I don't give a fuck if you see Sasha back. I'm kind of like, I'm not really a fan of hers anymore. She's really pissed me off.
There's clearly some issues still going on, isn't there?
Yeah. I don't think she is coming back. The latest I heard was potential money issues about coming back, but the name she's copyrighted, nothing Sasha based. It's like Money Mercedes, which suggests she's going to a different company.
Yeah.
So, but if that was going to happen, if she was going to come back, well, because the other two just, I don't know, of the 4 horsewomen from the UFC just couldn't hack it and they got released, you can still partially do a dream there of like, if you do Shayna and Ronda as the women's tag champions, and at Mania, they're against Charlotte and Sasha. Of like, this is at least a glimpse of the 4 horsewomen, maybe 2 horsewomen, there's 2 horsewomen.
I'm actually kind of gutted that I generally don't think we're ever going to get, the 4 horsewomen wrestling-wise against each other in a fatal 4-way for the title, which annoys me.
They did it on NXT a few years back, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, but it's Mania-worthy, isn't it? Or the 4-on-4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So those 2 matches are just like, I'm gutted that by the looks of it, it's probably never going to happen.
I mean, I know Ric Flair has been invited to Raw 30. Whatever, that's fine. I kind of expected something like that. But he says he's also been invited to the Royal Rumble because something big's going to happen. That to me tells me Charlotte's returning to the Royal Rumble.
That's not really big, is it?
It is in Ric Flair's head because it's his daughter. So
but I like Charlotte. Don't get it wrong. I think
she's a great athlete.
She's a great athlete.
But
it's just that
she pisses me off sometimes.
She's just getting handed a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
It's got to the point now that I just want to see her do some good wrestling matches and some good storylines that don't involve a title.
Yeah, Sasha and Charlotte both have that thing of like, they both know what they want, they both got their opinions, and they're entitled to what they want and their opinions. But they seem to not go about it in a professional manner. Sasha more so than Charlotte, because I think she's walked out twice now.
Yeah.
Now, I can only guess here, but if Austin had walked out a second time, they wouldn't have brought him back.
No.
It doesn't matter how big of a star he
Yeah,
was.
that's
It's
true.
like you can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
So whatever.
So
So Ronda wins by. Was it the
taps her?
Yeah, the arm.
she taps her out.
Shayna did get involved a little bit. I think she pushed Ronda out of the way from a cross body
Yeah,
near the start.
That was it. Nothing to know.
No,
really.
yeah, nothing really. Then it was the triple threat.
Triple threat. So it was Bobby versus Seth versus Austin Theory. New Austin Theory, where they reinvented him, and I think it's good that they've just gone gritty and dark and pissed off.
This is
kept Bobby as a big deal as well. Seth's perfect at the moment because he's technically a heel. He acts like a heel, but he wrestles like a face, and everybody loves him as a face because of his theme music. It's just like, you are putting that perfect line at the moment where you can get everybody to love you.
Lashley's kind of in the same position because when he came out, I think my brother went, "Is Lashley heel or face?" And I was going, "You know what? I don't know."
I think he's just wrecking people.
I think Triple H is going, do you? And we'll see how the fans react.
Let it happen.
If the fans cheer you, you're a face.
Yeah.
If they begin to boo you more, we'll push you more as a heel. We'll see what happens.
Wrestling-wise, it's the match of the night.
I agree. I was about to say the same thing.
Don't get me wrong, storyline-wise, it's the fucking main event. Anything with the bloodline.
I'm going to say exactly the same thing.
If you're thinking wrestling, this was like when it first kicked in, the first minute or two.
My theory. It was like, bang!
Yeah, the theory was gone. It was like the first minute or two, then it kicked in. I was like, I think Bobby's going to be an afterthought here. And then suddenly he just came back in. I was like, okay, maybe not. And then after that, it was just move after move after move after move. The energy was just high all the time. I think it was one point when Bobby just came back in for a spear, and the camera was so perfectly positioned that he just came in from behind the camera, and I was like, "Fucking hell!" I didn't even see him coming.
Yeah,
like the way it was shot was just so perfect. Like Austin was just so
there was
pissed
a frog
off.
splash during a pin or something where Seth
It was Seth. It was Seth. I remember that frog splash. Just like. I didn't even hear him or see him go up. All you saw him was just landing on top.
Yeah,
that was fucking insane. Austin was just pissed off the entire time, which was great. Seth was doing everything that he always does and absolutely nails it. Bobby was still this massive, massive dude. It was just hitting all the big moves. And the three of them had so much chemistry.
Yeah.
And they all played their parts really, really well with the new characters that they've kind of put together. And they played with intensity to go, like, there's no top championship on Raw at the moment because main championships are on SmackDown. Yeah. This is our main championship for the men.
Yeah.
So they pushed with that match here and they made it seem like this was a big deal. This title was a big deal. This is our main title on the main show. Let's push with it and make it look like we give a damn. And they really did.
The US title is now relevant
again. And I'm glad that Seth has got it. And again, made it more relevant, but this match was the one that made it even more relevant. It made it like people give a shit about this title.
This was the match again. I think because of the main event. I can't speak for everybody, but I will try to. In that room in Birmingham, I don't think anyone was really paying attention to the surroundings because they were that invested in the story. Now, I was invested in the triple threat, but that's the most energy I could feel from the room of like. And stuff kind of thing.
There were so many near falls, real. Bobby kicked out of the pedigree.
He did, and the double hurt lock.
Yeah,
he got them both.
Double hurt lock. That was cool. Not many people kick out of pedigree. No, so that's that again. That makes Bobby.
People thought it was over.
But makes Bobby strong as well. Keeps him strong because that's the thing. They're doing very well with Bobby at the minute. What we do with Drew. Like, even though he's not title based a lot or in main event pictures, they're still treating him as a big deal.
Yeah,
which is good.
I mean, this is why I knew Theory had to win. Because
I honestly thought Seth was going to have it quite a few times, but it was just, as it was going along, I was like, it makes sense for Theory to do it because he's got this new character. It's a nice way to reinvent him, and I just think that...
It was still a heel way to win.
Yeah, it was a heel way to win.
I think it was the Falcon Arrow superplex, but as Seth was going for the final slam, Lashley spears him, he rolls out the ring, and Theory kind of bounces on top of Seth and gets the pin. But as far as obviously the whole Money in the Bank thing really made a lot of the fans go, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, it was, and it was like at the time it was like a misstep. But I think
now it's a means to an end.
It's a means to an end, but I also quite like how they tried to explain it the following week on Raw as well. Like, it wasn't amazing, but they did damage control there in the case of what's his reasoning for doing this? Because Vince wouldn't have done that. No. He would just go, well, I don't care. This is what I've done. But Triple H go, right, well, we've made this decision to get rid of this albatross around Theory's neck. let's get rid of the case because it isn't working. And then to follow up with an explanation of why he didn't cash in on Reigns, absolutely made sense. He's tried it twice, it didn't work. He's always got the bloodline around him. He's undefeated for God knows how long. It's just not going to happen. Realistic makes no sense. So I went for the next best thing, which was Seth. The only thing that makes this stupid is that he cashed in when Rollins had 2 open challenges in one night.
Yeah.
That's the only crux in this entire thing. If that hadn't happened, his explanation would have been absolutely fine.
Was his thing being like, oh, he's going to be knackered after 2 open challenges, so that's when I can strike?
Maybe.
Because the thing is, now in hindsight, like, I think if he cashed in and won, it would have been worse for Austin because he would have been like so smug still with his US title.
And the thing, he would have had to keep up his character, that smugness with the selfies,
stuff,
which I like that character, but this new one is better.
Yeah, because if he'd won, it would have been like all these people, fans and other superstars like, congratulations, you won your mid-card title because you didn't have the balls to go for the world title. Which, again, I know still fed in with what happened, but he lost. And that's the explanation for why he snapped. Oh, everyone calling him stupid for losing his frustrations. He's now this gritty, I'm not fucking around theory.
I'm done with, like...
And when it's all said and done, he's still got his belt in the end. If he'd lost that triple threat, it would have been like, right, so even with this new angry theory, he's still nothing.
Yeah.
And he would have just been forgotten about.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm happy that he won.
Yeah.
It made sense. It doesn't really damage Seth. You can't damage Seth at this point. He's our new Shawn Michaels. It's hard to damage him at this point.
I mean, there's rumours of... The first rumour for Roman Reigns' Royal Rumble opponent was Sheamus. The second is now Kevin.
Makes sense. I don't get wrong. I would like Kevin because I love Kevin, but we've done it.
For the story, it would make sense at the minute.
Yeah, but Sheamus makes sense as well.
Sheamus makes sense more for me because...
He hasn't had a go.
No, Kevin... I know Kevin's was about a year and a half ago, but it's like... Roman keeps saying, like, I've beaten everyone. And he can go through this list, which includes Kevin.
And if you add Sheamus to that list...
Yeah, that's it. At the minute, Sheamus can go out and go, I ain't on that list.
Yeah.
And I think I can whip your ass. Sheamus 515 whipped your ass a few years ago, so let's try it. But I think I said to Mark or my brother, I was like, I know for a fact Roman's defended in a triple threat environment. He did it in Mania with Edge and Bryan.
Yeah.
Not a fatal 4-way, which adds a little bit more threat of like, Roman doesn't have to get pinned or submit. So why can't at the Rumble you have Roman, Sheamus, Kevin, and maybe Seth now? Because unless Seth wants to stay in the US title picture for a little bit longer, I'm not sure.
Maybe. Even if you just have another triple threat and just Sheamus and KO, I'd still be fine with that. But what I would like is for Sheamus and KO to not go at it but basically just say to each other, look, I respect you. I had you back at Survivor Series. We had each other's back, and I think you're amazing. But I'm going for that title. Yeah. So let's just accept it for what it is. We're going to go for that title and not get in each other's way.
Even if there was a fatal 4-way format at the Rumble, you might not agree with this, but I'd actually be okay with it being Roman, Sheamus, Kevin, and if he's about Lesnar, as long as Lesnar doesn't win.
As long as Lesnar doesn't win.
Because if Lesnar's in the fatal 4-way, it makes the match obviously more interesting because it's Lesnar, and it keeps him out the Royal Rumble match. Potentially.
Yeah, that's true.
If he is in the Royal Rumble match, obviously don't want him to win, but I want it to feed the rumoured match they want for him at Mania, which is Gunter. If Gunter eliminates Lesnar, and Lesnar's like, who the fuck are you? And
yeah.
like, I'm the Intercontinental Champion, bitch, and I can take you on. Now, I don't think it should be for the belt at Mania. I don't think Lesnar needs the Intercontinental title.
No.
If it is on the line, it would be interesting if Gunter won. But
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one to call.
Yeah. But I mean, that's it. It's interesting.
Yeah, Triple H knows how to stir the pot.
Yeah.
As we will now discuss in the main event.
Yeah, so that triple threat, just to finish off.
Match of the night.
Fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Loved it.
But story of the night was the mental
Oh my God. I mean, I knew this was going to be really well story driven anyway because... But the brilliant thing is just going in, not knowing what's going to happen. Who's going to turn on who, if anybody?
Yeah.
How is this going to play out? It was awesome. Like, it was just like, everybody was just so great. And like I said, the whole time with Reigns sitting down, just like observing. I love the fact, because who was it winning first? Was it Jay?
He went, yes, he sent Jay in first. which made me first think that he wants to get all the punishment.
No, not for me. I just thought, well, Jay's going to go in first. I thought it might be one of the Usos. It makes sense for it to be Jay. And then as it was coming up to the countdown...
He's going to pull him back. I said
as the countdown was coming, I was like, it would make a lot of sense right now to put Sammy in there and they have to work out their differences.
But I said
as soon as he did that to Jimmy, I was like, he's fucking putting Sammy in. Like, this is good storytelling.
You two have got a team.
You've got shit to do. You've got to sort your shit out and become a team. Off you go.
The only thing I would have potentially changed was, again, no offence to him, I might have had Ridge start it, more for the fact of, like, I'm not saying Sheamus or Drew are weak at any point, but
Pete that started it, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Ridge has got that massive physique of, like, you could sell it as, like, who's going to step up to this guy out of them? Even to the point if when Jay went down there, he could have sold it a little bit more of, like, you're a big motherfucker, actually. But purely, I wanted that more because I thought, because of Butch's character, Pete Dunne, whatever, he's a little bit off the fucking chain. I could have seen him, like, literally chomping at the bit, dart out that cage, go up the cage, and then jump off on top of someone. I was fine with him opening it, and I think the first minute was just him and Jay, like, yelling at each other. And then they got to it. Sammy gets sent down, and Jay at first is like, get the fuck out of my face, kind of stuff, like that.
I like that KO had the Dusty Rose t-shirt on.
Oh, yeah, I love that as well.
That's great.
And then, I think the match just played out for a while.
Yeah, played out, like, you had chairs and all this, loads of chair shot stuff that was fun and interesting.
A couple of times Sammy helped Jay, and there was I think when Jimmy got in the fray, they did start arguing, and he had to separate them.
I liked as well when everybody was in the ring. They all did the 10 beats of the band.
Oh yeah,
that was fucking.
And
cool.
They had that shot of the ring of like all five.
Just beating the
go.
It was so cool.
It didn't really. I'm not saying it wasn't interesting because we were all just invested in the chaos of War Games. But when all five of each team were in, I think that's when the mistake super kick happened.
Yeah, because I also thought to myself at one point, it's like, maybe there'll be a miscommunication somewhere, but it seems like it's leaning towards that there's going to be a deliberate thing here coming. But the fact that
both.
That's the thing. It was an accident. He didn't mean to hit Sammy, but the fact that there was no sympathy afterwards.
I kept saying, like, Roman's laying right there. He saw that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, if he's like, I saw what you did, and he just...
The fact that he was just, like, shoving Jimmy, going, forget about him. He's over. Let's fucking crack on. I was like...
But then it all came full circle to the story between Kevin and Sammy.
Yeah, and when they finally went loggerheads, it's like, they've kept each other apart, and this is great. What is going to happen? What is going to happen? When he stopped,
Sammy!
And then look at each other when, like, Kevin just, what are you doing? And then Sammy's like that little confusion in his eyes, going, I don't know. Yeah. Like, should I have done this? Should I not have done this?
But Kevin wasn't full on angry. It was like, I can't believe you just done that. But I get your conflict, but snap out of it.
Yeah.
You know I'm right. You know they're going to turn on you. And obviously what happened, I think he got... I think he stopped a super kick from Solo. So Solo impressed me.
Solo was
good. He was very Umaga.
Yeah, he really was.
I think...
Put Ridge to the table, didn't he?
I think someone, it might have been Kevin, smashed his head into the cage and he no-sold it. Like, you want to try that again? Like, all right. And he did. but he stopped the super kick and then the low blow.
Yeah, the low blow happens like, right, okay, we know where Sammy lies.
And
like this
sacrificed
and then the Helluva kick. And
oh man, it hit
the fucking like they just know how to hit that move so well, don't they? Like, he just smacked the shit out of him. And that just offering him up to Jay. I was like, this I did not see coming.
Yeah.
This whole bit here, I thought he would Luba kick him, pin him, and then he'd go, see Roman, I'm on your side. I did this. I pinned my best man. Blah, blah, blah. But the fact that he just offered it to Jay to go, this is us sorting our shit out, take him out.
But even when they won, I was there like, okay, there's going to be a celebration, but is it suddenly going to be...
The copyright logo's going to come up.
Well, I didn't wait for that, but I thought, are they going to surround Sammy and just destroy him? Or are they all going to, like, is Jay still going to be like, I don't trust him? And that all four of them are eyeing up Sammy, and then Solo, Jimmy, and Roman all look at Jay, kick the crap out of him. None of the above. What shocked me was
the hug. Yeah.
Are you shitting me?
It's like, they've sorted their shit out of the team. What the fuck is happening? It's like, again, like, you have all these little tidbits building up to it for over weeks, and on the show, like I said, with the little bits going through the night, where you think there's all these things that can happen, and yet the thing they did, I didn't expect to happen.
They keep everyone on their toes. I like that.
Fucking nailed it.
It was one of them where by the end of it, I was like, I really wanted to see a betrayal tonight, but I am totally fine with the story continuing because it's hot right now. So I think the rumour is Jay broke his hand in that match. So he might be out for a few weeks.
Okay. But the thing you've got to do now is that you've got to capitalise on this, right? They're a team now, that's 100%. But you've got to hit this at the absolute perfect moment of betrayal, whether it be Jay or Sammy, which I think it probably should be Sammy to be betrayed.
I'm now thinking it's Sammy.
Yeah, it's got to be because it seems to be like with the Kevin Owens thing intertwined, it makes more sense for them to team up eventually. Yeah. What you've got to do here, you've got to hit this as perfect as you did with KO betraying Jericho, with the list of Jericho and Mr. KO, that kind of stuff. Because that was, although we saw it coming at some point and we knew it was going to happen, when it did happen, it was so beautifully written that we're just like, holy shit, it's now. Oh my God. That's what you need. You need that thing where you just like, it's going to happen, but I generally don't know when. And then when you just get that look from Reigns or Jay or something, you go, holy shit! It's now. It's like they're gonna turn on him, and that's what you need.
I think the thing is as well. Someone actually said like, actually, the amount of times Kevin's betrayed Sammy, turnabout's fair play. All right. The reason I now think it's Sammy is he's now got Jay's trust in the character's mind. He might now, if he is going to be the traitor, it's like, I needed to get the trust of all of them. And that's when I can choose my moment. So I wouldn't be surprised. I was talking to my brother about this, of like, fair enough, WrestleMania is seen as like the big end and beginning of the season. But we've always said there's no reason why stories can't run through Mania. So,
it makes the right sense. Yeah,
it doesn't have to be like, because we're Mania, this story is now complete. It doesn't have to work that way. So I think The Rock is still 80% in for the WrestleMania main event. Fine with that. Roman needs to win. So I think the way they can make the story interesting there is like, is there going to be a few members of the Bloodline that go, well, Rock's family, and I believe in The Rock more, or like, because if there's anyone who I think might, if Roman suddenly just was standing with his Bloodline and be like, these are my head of the table, my boys, I'm the tribal chief, no one's standing with you, and Rock standing in the ring, and then Solo just slowly walks to Rock's side and turns and stands with him, and Roman's like, what? Solo can then either potentially just go, look, I recognise how good you are, but you're not The Rock. And I go, this isn't me teaming with him. This is me going, I'm done. I am not arguing amongst the family. You sort it out, I'm doing my own thing. And he just goes and does, no pun intended, his solo thing.
Yeah.
Because I think he will be fine by himself.
Yeah.
So, have the Rock thing happen, have Roman win, and at Mania Backlash maybe, set the seed of like, maybe Kevin Owens is still like, I haven't forgot about you, I want a tag title match at Backlash. I'll have a surprise partner. Have it be Sammy, they get destroyed, and they lose the tag titles. Roman is livid, but he takes out on Jay. Or Jay turns around and goes, don't you take it out on me, I told you. Did you listen to me? No. What kind of tribal chief are you if you don't listen to your own people? Just that dissension, because there's a lot of rumours of like, why can't Jay be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns?
Yeah, and that's the thing, it's like beforehand, if you looked at it about a year or two ago,
you say no way.
You looked at someone like Jay or Sammy, you'd have gone, no. It's like, it doesn't make sense, not at all. But now, with how beautifully they've told this story over the last year and a half, it makes sense for any of them. Like, those two guys, either of them could take the title and we'd all be like, I fucking buy it. Because you've built such an amazing story with all these characters, with so many layers and so many things going on, so much plate spinning going on at all this time, that I just believe it. I believe everything you want. I don't look at it and go, where Sammy's not big enough to take on Roman. I look at it going, he's the ultimate underdog. Yes, he can do it.
Even if it's the other way around, of like Sammy's the one to dethrone Roman Reigns, and he still
that's a bookend.
Yeah, but he takes
because
out
the first
Jay.
person he took on was Jay after he won the title.
Yeah.
So if he's the one to take it off him, that's a bookend to the perfect story.
But yeah, if Sammy beats Roman for the belt, dethrones Roman, and that's when Roman's like, oh my god, it's happened, I'm no longer champ, and how could I have been so stupid? Takes it out on Jay, creates a story there, which means Roman's still in a relative story even without the belt. And then I think Sammy would be a great champion.
Yeah.
Jay...
Long overdue.
Yeah, if Jay is the one, I don't see it being a long reign, no offence to him. Definitely not as long as Roman.
But if you keep the storylines going and everything, there's no reason why you can't have Sammy take it from Jay at a SummerSlam or something.
Yeah, but I was going to say it is like around WrestleMania Backlash, or I want to call it just Backlash. Hopefully Triple H will change the name. So. But it happens there, which again is another thing of like Triple H going, there's going to be no such thing as B pay-per-views. They're all must-see pay-per-views.
Okay, that's cool.
Or premium live events. Even to the point, if that happens at a Backlash, everyone who didn't watch it goes, whoa, I need to start watching it from now on. And then that SummerSlam is Jay versus Jimmy. Brother versus brother for the World Championship. Because I like the way
Imagine that, like 5 years ago, would we have ever put either of the Usos in the world title picture?
No.
But the fact that now we're literally looking at it thinking, I wouldn't say no to it.
It's the same with, like, would you see Goldust versus Cody selling out a pay-per-view? No, not the way Vince was doing it. Sold out in AEW, and it was amazing.
And now I look at Cody and think, yep, I can see him taking a
title.
You're the man. You're the man. Yeah.
So, which I like how they've subtly made it the differences between Jay and Jimmy now. I think Jay's got the buzz cut thing going on. Jimmy's got his hair back. He's got the red highlights. So I'm very like, I know which one.
Yeah, you know who's who.
So yeah, there's so many avenues they can go, but I just like more to the fact that you don't know when the strike is going to happen.
Yes, you don't know when the betrayal's going to happen. You don't know who's going to be the one to take the title in what fashion.
No. So it keeps you guessing, keeps you invested.
Yep.
It's doing everything it needs to do.
I'm watching clips from SmackDown and Raw again just because of this.
Yeah.
And I dipped off ages ago, and now I'm finding myself watching more and more clips because, like, I think each little segment that we're seeing each week adds another layer to the story, and that's important. I don't want to miss any bit of it because then I don't want to I feel like I'm not as invested as I should be because I've missed a bit. I don't want to miss any of it.
Well, the two things that surprised... I was slightly surprised there was no LA Knight Bray segment at Survivor Series, but who would have thought, like, obviously Bray only returned the last pay-per-view. Back then, we would have gone, are you crazy? He's just come back, you've left him off the Survivor Series card. But to leave him off the card and still have such a strong show shows the direction the business is going. Of like, yeah, we love that Bray's back, and I'm interested in what his story is, but I'm so invested in what you're giving us.
Yeah, you've got to rely on loads of people and loads of stories, not just one thing.
Yeah, and the Bray thing, some people are like, kind of right, just get on with it now. It seems to be getting dragged out a bit, but I kind of like the subtleties of like, what people are noticing, like the mask in the darkness watching LA Knight, like, this is cool.
Well, I was going to say, like, I'm fine with not seeing him wrestle until the Rumble, but by the looks of it, that's what's going to happen. Because we're not getting another pay-per-view until the Rumble now, and I don't see him re-debuting his new Bray wrestling character in a Raw or a SmackDown, so I think it's not going to be until the Rumble.
They could wait, it's very obvious his first opponent will be LA Knight. So, if it's the Rumble, fine. But I just have a feeling, especially with Raw 30 coming up, or the first Raw of the new year, Triple H will have, or SmackDown, in Bray's case, like, he'll have something big in his back pocket.
Yeah, that's true.
So he might just go, you know what, Bray's first match back in the ring, first SmackDown of the new year. And was like, okay, let's do it. Ratings.
Yes. Apart from the Shotzi Ronda match, this was an incredible pay-per-view.
Yeah.
This was one of the strongest pay-per-views of the year. This is some of the best storytelling I've ever seen. Some great wrestling. I feel like things matter again. I feel like I care about a lot of things again. Wrestling is getting good again. It's the one bad thing is that we're stopping for a while when wrestling is getting good.
Because we don't have anything to bitch about.
But this show just showed to me that Triple H has got this in good hands. He's doing all the right things with the right people at the right time. He's giving people room to breathe.
Since SummerSlam, because that was his first pay-per-view in charge, all 4 pay-per-views he's done have been great.
Yeah.
They've all been sold out.
Yep.
So you can't.
There's been missteps here and there, as like for instance, like the Austin cash-in and stuff, or there's been a match on a show where I've gone,
yeah.
But it's never going to be absolutely perfect. Nothing's going to be WrestleMania 17 all the time.
No.
But these, like I said, they've been consistently good.
Yeah.
They've been at the top, like 85% of wrestling pay-per-views over the last 5 years, because the guy just knows. He knows how to carry people, how to push people with the right story at the right time, how to listen to the audience, how to listen to the wrestlers and what they want.
Well, they've said
it's
it's not as scary anymore to like. You used to be scared to approach the likes of Vince.
Yeah, because Vince wants to put himself on a pedestal, like I'm in charge and you should fear me. But Triple H has never given me that. In the ring, when he's playing a heel character, sure. But behind the scenes as a Paul Levesque, he's like, no, I want to be the granddaddy. I want to be the guy that can grab everybody and go, let's get through this together. Let's do this together. Let's all talk together. Let's make this awesome for everybody, that we can all enjoy our time and our tenure in this company.
The stories you hear about Vince is that if he goes to someone, I want to do A, and they go, I don't like that. To his credit, he always goes, fine, but give me an option B if you've got another idea. But no one ever says, like, hang on, you could still throw option B at him, and I see him still going, nah, I'm going to go for option B.
Yeah, you throw the option, but if that happens again and again and again, after a while, the rest is going to go, well, what's the point of me offering an option B when you're not going to take it anyway?
Yeah.
Then you'll fire me, and then you'll say he was difficult to work with.
Yeah.
So I'm not difficult to... Like he said that Bray was difficult to work with. I don't believe that. Bray was protective. He's like, no, this character deserves this, this, and this. And you know it, but you don't want to do it because it's not you that came up with it.
Yeah.
That's why it's failing. That's why so many wrestlers and characters and things on WWE were failing, because the things were coming up that weren't Vince's idea. He didn't like it, so he changed everything and made everything his idea. Everything, the buck stopped with him on every single opinion, every single finish, every single storyline. And because of that, it was just a little old, out of touch man's playbook, and it was boring.
Triple H should be more relatable as well, because he's been in their position.
He's been in the ring. He knows.
Well, not just the ring, but he would have been one of those backstage guys who wanted to approach their boss, like, can we do this? I think my character should go this way, and has heard no, or no, we want you to do this, or blah, blah, blah. So he knows where they're coming from.
And I also feel like Triple H is willing to try. If someone came up with an idea, said, I want to do this, this, and this, and Triple H is like, I'm not sure it's going to work.
Yeah.
And they're going to just give me a chance. He'd go, okay, I'll give you a month. Try this, see how it goes. If it doesn't work, we'll switch things out. But I think he's willing to at least give it a go, because he's not doing what Vince does and goes, I'm going to focus on one thing, be it Reigns or Cena or being that. That's where I'm going to put all my chips. Triple H will go, well, you can go and try that for a month, because I've got this story here, I've got that story there, and I've got this story here. So the whole show and the whole WWE banner isn't going to fall apart if your thing doesn't work out. But that's what Vince used to probably think. He's going, well, I'll let you try it. I'll let you play around in your little sandbox. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter, because I've got all these other things holding up the company as well.
I think a little bit of Vince needs to be in Triple H as far as the aggression when it comes to the corporate side of it, of like,
but I think
sponsors.
I think Steph saw in most of that.
Yeah, fair.
Which is fine.
I mean, back in '96, where Steve went up to Vince and said, I'm not the ringmaster. And he's like, well, who do you want to be? He left it in Austin's court. Austin came up with Stone Cold, not that Victor Von Frost crap they said. And Vince just went, yep, okay, let's see what you got. Which is cool. I think Triple H will be kind of like that, but if someone like, I don't know, trying to think of someone like Corbin, for example. I mean, I'm willing to still give the JBL thing a go to see where it goes. But if Corbin went up to her and went, I'm not feeling this character I've got, I think Triple H should go, right, so are you saying you want to be a brand new character, or you don't know where you want to go with it? Again, depending on the answer, I think Triple H might still go, okay, tell you what, if you want to change character, I'll take that on board. But for the next month, we'll help you. If you've got no idea where to go with it, we'll throw the ideas to you. We'll brainstorm, whatnot. If it begins to go somewhere, you begin to feel it, great. If after a month it's still crap, we'll go back to the drawing board and see what we can do with it.
It's called inclusivity.
Yes.
And he is aware and he's very up on it.
Yeah. It just needs to stay that environment, and I think
you want to make it an environment where people want to work. They say that this is the promised land, that this is the big leagues, and this is the best place to be wrestling-wise. You've got to prove that, and it hasn't been that way for the last 5 to 6 years minimum.
This is the closest I've actually felt like there could be a genuine war here between AEW and WWE.
Some people are looking at WWE going, well, now he's back, I want to go back there.
It's less about now the war between the fan service, more like who wants to work where. Because I see a lot of people in AEW, people like Joe or Miro or Alistair that might eventually go, or Malachi, whatever, might, you know what, I might want to go back there. One of the rooms already is Regal.
Yeah.
Which, keep him for a couple of months, because the story is going on.
The story with MJF is gold.
He needs to stay for a couple more months.
Yes.
But, yes, the ratings, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, we kind of went on a tangent there.
Yeah, we did.
Like I say, it was an incredible show. One of the best ones that Triple H has put on. One of the best in the last 5 years. The Shotzi Ronda thing aside, everything else was great to incredible. The storyline with the Bloodline is just reaching new heights that I'd never thought it could reach. Honestly, I think it is a solid 9 out of 10 for me. I just think that I really enjoyed it. It was just so enjoyable, and most of this is Bloodline related, but in all honesty, it's the best story in wrestling right now. And the fact that there was so many options for it to go certain ways, and it went certain ways that I didn't see coming at all.
Yeah,
that makes me go, fuck, this is good. It's kept me on my toes, and it's made me invested to see more of your product.
Yeah,
and if a fucking wrestling show can't do that, what can you do?
Yeah,
and that for me is why I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. It's making me go, I'm going to keep watching this.
I'm going to give it an 8, and one of the reasons is the same reason for the SmackDown Women's Championship that you had. The Women's War Games match was good. Because I was slightly out of the loop because of technical difficulties, it might be a reason. But when I look at the two, the women's was definitely not on par with the men's because of the story. Now, I'm not saying like their story, obviously the Bloodline story is that good. It's obviously going to top it, but there wasn't really much of a story going into the Women's War Games invested. And as good as AJ Finn was, I felt like, maybe it's an age thing, but I felt that wasn't the best we could have got out of those two. I think there's a 5-star match laying within those two, and we didn't get it at Survivor Series.
Right.
So I'll go with an 8. Just as a tangent, Full Gear, I will give a solid fucking 9. That is the closest.
I still haven't watched it yet.
That is the closest I've enjoyed put into like a WrestleMania 17.
Really?
It was so good. The only matches that kind of made me go, was Jade Cargill versus Nyla Rose. TBS was just kind of what everyone expected, of just two butch women throwing each other about a little bit, and Cargill wins, great. And Saraya Britt was not that good, but I will give it, the reasons being ring rust.
Mm-hmm.
Britt probably was a little bit like afraid to touch certain areas, and I took it more for the whole, this is less about the match quality, more, oh my god, Saraya's back. It's more for the moment of Saraya back in the ring than the match. Everything else across the board, fantastic. The cage match was incredible. The Elite's return to against Death Triangle, amazing. MJF, Moxley, everyone kind of knew what was going to happen at the end, but we loved it anyway.
Yeah, I saw what happened at the end. It was good.
The Joe thing winning. Kudos to your missus. She called it, Samoa Joe.
She went random.
Yeah.
She just went, fuck it, I'm going to go Joe.
And she was right. And again, the problem is 10 matches means like 3.5 hours.
They need to trim it.
Yeah, they do. But I can't really think of nothing really stunk out the place.
Yeah.
So, but a very good show. But anyway,
that's kind of it for us for a while. This is kind of proving that this is a good time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
That a couple of years ago, we were literally like, God, I don't know how much longer I can keep this shit
burnt out.
Yeah, just burnt out. Like, but now it's just like, okay, I'm really enjoying it. It's actually enjoyable with our predictions a bit more now because beforehand with Vince, it's like, well, think the way that Vince thinks and you'll get your points. But now it's like there's so unpredictability because Triple H likes to keep things
I got a clean
spicy.
sweep,
Yeah.
and it meant nothing.
I'm still 5 points.
I'm still bottom of the fucking table.
Honestly, mate, it's getting embarrassing now. Like,
but I said to Zach, I looked at it, I was like, Zach, if Adam only gets one right and you get all yours right, you can have this. He's like, yeah, what are the chances of that? There's only like 6 things to go for.
What is Goffey and Amy thinking about it? Because I haven't really spoken to him. Because
I think they're okay.
I just don't know what.
I mean, I think
because Sarah goes, you're gonna have to throw a few points. I was like, no, because I'm sorry. Like, if
there's
someone
no
else,
fun in that.
if someone was in my position, would you throw points if you're that far ahead? Would you fuck?
But you can't exactly throw points because it's guess. You could throw one and go, oh fuck, I got it right.
Well, to be honest, I did that with Theory. Because honestly, like, I generally thought Seth was probably going to retain because he hasn't had it that long. I thought it makes sense. He's white hot right now. I thought Seth would probably take it, but I looked at him and went, no, fuck it, I'm going to go Theory because there's something going on with him at the minute. That was just a rough guess, and
I'm in that position of like, the only chance I've got is when we go back to 0 at Mania. But everyone else is kind of like, they're not that far.
No,
behind.
I mean, Zach's catching
5
me.
points behind.
I don't know what's happened to Amy, like, because the first time I was like this, she was solidly up my ass. Like, there was a point between us nearly every time.
Yeah.
And then obviously this time when we reverted, it's like, say, you've been up and down and stuff.
The Royal Rumble will be interesting because I was going to say, we're just literally having a conversation between ourselves now while we're recording. I'm still fine with going with the 2 points if you get the Rumble winner right and the Rumble raffle we did.
Yes.
Right? I know you weren't about, but you still managed to fucking win it.
Yeah. I don't even have to try anymore.
That leads...
It's like Ricky Gervais when he wins awards. Wasn't there. Still won though.
This leads to part 2 of my what happened in Birmingham story. So obviously we got through the technical difficulties, but everyone else was a little bit like, we paid for this and we lost a big chunk out of that show. It's a bit shit. And I think a few, including myself, was like, free beer, any chance?
Yeah, at least a round.
We got an email this morning. It came up on Facebook saying, someone had posted, big shout out to Paul Benson who runs the whole thing for that really nice email. So I was like, maybe I've got one as well. And I did. And it was saying stuff about whoever entered the raffle, the winner's been informed. That's great. The quiz results, because it's all online now. Okay. You get your phone out. Our quiz name was Trim Your Butch. Because we wanted to get rid of Butch.
That was pretty good.
And we came second. And just as a fun little pop trivia quiz. If you want to guess this, you want to pause this. They do it in like rounds. So they had questions about the Usos, about Sami Zayn, 2022, and the hard one, which was like who's missing from this Survivor Series team, and they'd say who 2019 this team was blah 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 blah. Who's missing one? So he goes, I love this question, so I'm going to leave it till last, and everyone's going to be like twist their heads around it because, and I think it was it wasn't the Usos, it was brothers in wrestling. That was the part where he goes, what former tag team champions have real life brothers within the company that have also been tag champions with somebody else? And everyone's like, holy fuck.
That's hard. There's a lot of layers in that.
So, yeah, that's what the guy said. So when they're like, and granted, Mark's a big wrestling fan, but he's just kind of up in his own world, just scratching his head, and we're like, going, don't cheat, put your phone down. Jenny was kind of just like watching. And me and Zach are giving each other that look of like, this is embarrassing.
Because normally, you and Zach, especially you've got the answer.
It wasn't until he said you guys are going to kick yourselves, we're like, that's
even worse.
Yeah, so
that's like when your parents say, I'm not angry, just disappointed. It's just, it hurts.
So we're going, is it something to do with Kane and Undertaker? They haven't mentioned them at all. Goes, yeah, but they're not real brothers. Like,
neither were Edge and Christian, but they
that's what I was thinking. Is like, maybe they've got it wrong. Maybe they think Edge and Christian are brothers. I don't know. So they get to it and they announce it, and I was like, fuck! Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy were tag champions. Bray's brother is Bo, who's tag champions with Curtis, and Matt and Jeff. I was like, fuck! No! I mean, genius question.
Yeah, great question.
So they had the quiz thing. We came second, and the other was technical difficulties, and it was a full-blown apology of saying it happens sometimes, but we can count them on our hands. Sorry it took so long to get up and running. As an apology for those coming to the Rumble party, let us know if you were there. You'll get a free beer token.
Cool.
It's a cool thing.
Okay.
Because I was thinking, if this is going to happen, I was like, thank God this happened at Survivor Series. If this was a Rumble or a Mania, I would be flipping out.
They'd also lost more money.
Yeah.
For the beer token.
And I want to also have faith that it will work next time.
Yeah.
So they did that, and I was like, cool, all right, that sound. I then get a text 10 minutes later of Mark, and he won the raffle.
Did he?
And it's the winged championship.
Really?
The wrestling championship, the big gold belt.
Really?
I was like, dude, well done.
That's cool.
But then I was like, why didn't I join the raffle? Yeah. But yeah, there's my little story at the end. So yeah, Survivor Series, done.
Done.
And we're done.
And we're done as well. So yeah, it is a good time to be a wrestling fan at the moment. We're going to continue to watch, but we're just not podcasting.
So we might
currently.
be back.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
If we come past Mania and we go, fuck me, I've got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Then we'll talk about it.
Well, like you say, we might end up on another format.
Yeah, we might end up on the format. If someone's willing to start something and they want to involve us, then we'll do it. And obviously, we'll let you know. Again, it depends on times as well. I think one of the reasons I'm stopping the SoundCloud thing is because it's £10 a month, and given prices of everything going up at the minute, it's just like
rate of living increase.
Yeah, they're like the cost of living crisis. So it's like I can't really justify that at the moment. So yeah, if we do come back on this one, it might just be YouTube for the time being. We don't know. We're going to wing it. But
So
at the moment, you're not going to see us for a few months.
Don't watch this space, but keep your eye out for it.
Keep your eye. You never know. Just don't unfollow us on any of the socials.
Keep your ear on the ground.
Because you might see something eventually.
Yes.
Even if it's a new format, completely somewhere separate, we'll put it on the social and say, look, we're over here now.
Yeah. But if you want us back by popular demand, we'll think about it. Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Yes, like, subscribe, and we'll see you
Whenever
we feel like it.
Ta-ra.
Bye.